これからの物語は僕と関係があるはずだ。つまり次の章を開く思い出は僕のところにあるかもしれない。旅人とパイモン、ドゥリン本人は変わっていない。君たちはちょっと特殊な存在のようだね。
さらにお母さんがお人形さんに残した知恵は、この心臓を竜の子に移植し、彼を生まれ変わらせるという方法に可能性を見出しました。
新しい世界に来て新しい友達を作りたかっただけなのに、こんなに過酷な試練が待ち受けてるなんて。
それでも僕なら前に進みたい。
どうしたんだドゥリン、起きろ。ドゥリンはみんなの記憶を取り戻すって約束したじゃないか。こんなの受け入れられるはずがないぞ。
Redo。
でも友達が助けてくれる。
やがて竜の子は悪竜の心臓を抱き、
Look at his face。
彼は勇敢にもこの力を抑え込むのでしょうか。
Oh, okay, okay。
みんなどうしたんだ。
物語を書くためのインクが尽きた。この先にある章は真っ白の空白。どうやらとても優秀な友人に出会ったようだ。
Is this M？
物語はここまで。もう限界だ。君たちはどうする？
最後は僕が決めないといけないんだね。前へ進み続けないと。
前を見て。君の精神と知恵は純粋な魂から生まれたものだ。君は意識のない虚無の存在じゃない。
走れ。この世界の運命は誰のことも待ってくれやしない。
Not this track。
願いを叶えるんだよドゥリン。
まさか一番の課題が私の時間だったとはね。
予言はいつか必ず実現する。星々と共に時間を超えてゆくものは必ずある。
Love。
この筆を未来に送ってくれない？アリス、君はどう思う？作家にとって一番の心残りとは何か。私にとっての一番の心残りは、私が書いた物語に必ず終わりを用意してあげなきゃいけないことなんだ。でも、もし私が握っているペンを物語の中の人物に渡して、彼自身に物語を書かせることができたら、本当の意味で私の筆から離れて物語の外にいる人たちと同じように自分自身の人生を書けるようになるんだ。私の大事なドゥリン、どうすればいいかはもうわかるね。
This track。 This is giving me chills, bro。
僕はお母さんの筆を受け継いで
新たなページをめくり、この物語に新章を足してくれる？
Like he says, I got it。
死ぬことはできない。一恋をみんな災いをもたらす。定められた運命。
そんな運命はもう存在しない。最後に残るのは僕の物語だ。
Can you give me more HP？
自分の友達ともう一度永遠の別れを告げるみたいで、とても辛い気分よ。冒険の道を切り開きなさい。みんな君のインクとなる。どうか私の筆を受け継いでこの物語を書き続けて。
What's good, y'all? I'm Zero Dre, and welcome back. How are y'all doing? Are you doing good? How excited are you for 6.3? Columbina, Zebai, Iluga, fighting the new weekly boss Dottore, and just seeing the finale of Nodcry's Archon quests. But that's not why we are here today. Of course, Durin Story Quest Part 5, Part 5. What did happen last time? Well, we had to make a decision whether or not to cut Durin's friendship with Hat Guy or continue as is. Well, at least in my playthrough, I definitely got the bad ending. I was leaning towards going the good ending route at first, but then thought to myself, what if we chose the thorny path instead of the one guided by the wind? And then the game straight up said you got the bad ending. But it was pretty cool how they did that part of it. Or okay, what if you choose the bad ending? What if you made the bad decision? So it was cool seeing that. But yeah, the last thing about part 4 was meeting up with Albedo to hopefully finally help us clear out all of this thing that's been going on. Got the confirmation about my speculation. Got the confirmation about what I was speculating, that the entire thing is tied to... I miss being here in Dragonspine. This shit brings a lot of good 1.0 Genshin memories. And you know what's crazy? In a few months, well, in a couple of months from now, around September or October, this new year, we're legitimately getting the Nation of Snow. The Cryo Nation, Snezhnaya. Will we have the same freezing mechanics the Dragonspine has over there in Snezhnaya? Probably in some areas, because it'd be too much of a... I don't know, I feel like if we did have like this freezing mechanic all over Snezhnaya, it'd feel too restrictive, not gonna lie. Right, maybe we get some type of like how in Fontaine we got that mechanic that lets us dive underwater. Maybe we'll get something like that, like a permanent stove or heater. And it'd be cool too if we got like a skin, like a winter skin for the travelers. Why are we even talking about that? Let's go do the finale of Durin's story quest. Damn, it's really been a minute since I've been here in Dragonspine. Okay, I don't mind fighting some enemies before we get off into... Oh, and we also got legitimate mini Durin again, right? Along with the cat version of Wanderer.
これが例のドゥリンかい？モンドで復活したのがあのドラゴンだったら、ここに住む人々はどんな災いに見舞われただろうね。
Yep. Would have been cool to see that though, like what that would look like.
ドゥリンはここの大英雄だね。
Hey, and you just thought you'd be nice all of a sudden.
ちょっと羨ましくなっただけだ。
Here he is.
誰にでも英雄になれるチャンスがあるわけじゃない。
I mean, you technically were the hero of Simulanka. Well, one of the many heroes of Simulanka, along with Navia, Kirara, Nilu.
ほとんどアルベドのおかげだけどね。
A hero to Durin too. Actually, most of the credit belongs to Albedo. Still you. The fact that you participated in the experiment, the alchemical process.
だが、今や大英雄の君を覚えている人もこれだけということか。そう思うと羨ましくなくなった。
お前なあ。
旅人パイモン、そしてカサッチさんもドゥリンのことを覚えているんだね。
Yeah.
つまりこの記憶喪失の現象は親しい間柄の友達までは広がっていない。それなら僕の記憶も完全なはずだ。
アルベド。
やっと来たな、アルベド。聞きたいことが山ほどあるんだ。
君も来てたんだね。
彼の身に起こったことについて僕はなんとなく見当がついている。
Yeah, let's
君はどうだ？
hear what Albedo has to say about all this. What do you think?
ジン団長からこの前起きたことについて聞いたよ。確かに僕なりの考えはある。まずは情報を共有しよう。
I think he came from Nogtry, right? To head over here. Exchange into what Albedo also checks how Durin is holding up.
彼の体は至って正常だよ。アビスの力を抑制するための体の働きも安定しているし、特に崩壊するような兆しは見られない。
つまり錬金術の観点からは問題ないってことか？
For now.
アビスの力が勝手に暴走しているというより、彼の主体的な意志と肉体のつながりが失われつつあるというべきかもしれない。
And the fact that because Erminsul is trying to correct the system, that maybe OG Durin, Dragonspine Durin will actually end up taking over the body if we don't fix this right now.
もしこのまま主体的な意志を失えば、ドゥリンの体は生物的な本能と体内のアビスの力に支配されてしまう。
But if that happens,
本には魔女の集いについて書かれていた。ドゥリンの件に関しては複数人の魔女が関わったそうだ。僕なりに一つ推測がある。東和世界のドゥリンは雪山のドゥリンにとって代わってこの世界に生まれてきた。これはつまり片方のドゥリンがもう片方のドゥリンの運命を書き換えるということになる。
bringing Fairy Tale Durin into this world to replace the Durin on Dragonspine means using one Durin's fate to overwrite the others. But I think, wasn't it on part 4 where they implied that maybe the solution, what if Simulanka Durin can just embody the existence of Dragonspine Durin? They become one. It'll be like Simulanka Durin is just now assuming the role of a Dragonspine Durin, so that in Tevat system, it's still recognizing Dragonspine Durin, but it's actually Simulanka Durin who's, I don't know, driving the car.
What?
Like literally just a continuation of Dragonspine Durin's story or fate.
これを実現するには錬金術だけでは足りなかったのかもしれない。
We need the power of magic.
バーベロスさんの先生術と僕の先生の錬金術、アリスさんの魔法を同時に使う必要がある。
The combined use of Miss Barbelot's astrology, my teacher's alchemy, and Aunt Alice's magic. Aren't the gifts that they gave Durin exactly about that? Especially, if I'm remembering it correctly, gold, what she gave to Simulanka Durin was, I don't know, the alchemical formula or solution to defy his fate or something? Something about his fate, right?
先生術の予言を知って僕とドゥリンは雪山のドゥリンの問題を完全に解決する方法を思いついたんだ。
So he already knows, like, what the plan is?
だけどどうやらこれすらも彼女たちの計画のうちだったみたいだね。思惑通り僕は錬金術の部分を遂行した。
Nah, I'm tripping. He's talking about the events of paralogism.
残るは
The magic, right?
さっきカサッチさんが運命に関する理論について話していたけど、
But he really calls Wanderer as our friend in the hat. No names, no nicknames, just hat guy.
テイワットの運命に影響を与えられる魔法がどんなものか僕にはわからない。でもこの本の中にその答えがあるのは確かだ。
That phrase in itself is just crazy. How any kind of magic could possibly influence the fate of Tevat. I mean, well, descenders are a thing, right? But a magic? A spell?
この本を完成させるようアリスがオイラたちに言ってきたのはその魔法を完成させるためってことだよな。
Okay. So like every part of our quote-unquote goose chase or adventure is possibly building up that
実際に運命を書き換えられる魔法。
possibly building up that magic that can rewrite fate itself. And I mean, if we look back on it, like every bit of the adventure we had going through Act 1, 2, 3, and 4 has been like a retelling of the exact events of Mini Durin's life, essentially.
時間がない。本を貸してくれ。
Okay.
これからの物語は僕と関係があるはずだ。つまり次の章を開く思い出は僕のところにあるかもしれない。
大きな木には折れた枝があり、その断面は塔から飛び出た枝とぴったり合いました。
The giant tree was home to a broken branch, the shape of its splintered arm aligning perfectly with the branch that had burst forth from the castle walls. What does that mean? Is this maybe talking about Durin? Dragonspine Durin? Because burst forth from the castle walls, Durin in that castle in part 3, giant tree, Dragonspine Durin being broken or something? Then aligning perfectly with the branch that had burst forth from the castle walls because, again, Dragonspine Durin, Similanka Durin. Ooh! You know what? This is actually in theme with the entirety of Nodcry's theme. Like mirror waters, or the water mirrors the past or something.
In the water, the future mirrors the past. The veil of lies is slipping.
And they showed it in Durin's demo where it was like mini Durin is falling into the water.
But you, my child, born under a pen, why should your fate not transcend these pages?
And then it showed the reflection of Durin, but I guess it doesn't really connect here, I think. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, if Similanka Durin, figuratively looks at his reflection into that, right, it will reflect Dragonspine Durin. So maybe that's what this thing that Alice is saying.
折れた枝に自らをつなぎ合わせて、そこに身を置きなさい。そうすれば、塔の外の日差しや雨の恵みを受けられる。
Join yourself to that broken bow, for there bowkeeper. For there you may take root at last, and henceforth bask in the sun and rain of the world beyond the castle. So, okay, that's exactly what I'm getting from this. The tree with a broken branch is Dragonspine Durin. The new branch that seemingly fits the branch that's been broken, that came from the castle, is Similanka Durin. Join yourself to that broken bow. Embody, simulate, I don't know the perfect term for it, but for there you may take root at last, and henceforth bask in the sun and rain of the world beyond the castle. Because again, if that happens, he's technically gonna be registered as Dragonspine Durin in Tevat's system, which goes back to his skin that we're gonna get after we complete his story quest.
しかし、まずは強力な粘土を見つけて、切り口を覆った方がいいのかもしれません。
Fetch the stickiest clay and let it bind the scar of the break. Is this where we finally... Because you know what's crazy is the entirety of Durin's story quest, we have yet to hear anything or see anything about Dragonspine Durin. So maybe this is where we'll get it. And they need to have that one-on-one talk or something.
やっぱりね。
What do you see? First fetch the stickiest clay and let it bind the scar of the break. Solution bestowed by the
竜の
sage
子は
fish.
風の導きを受け錬金工房へとやってきました。
Oh,
出
Albedo.
迎えてくれたのは粘土のお人形さん、
Ah, clay figure, right.
知恵の魔法使いが作った子供でした。お母さんの冷酷なまでの知恵を受け継いだ彼は 一見とても穏やかです。お人形さんは悪霊がもたらす災いを解決すると決め、竜の子のことも助けてくれることになりました。
And you know what I just realized just now? I mean, even before we saw Rhindaughter's actual design look in that teaser with the shades, Albedo really is like the child of Rhindaughter Gold. They're both blonde, both alchemists. Ooh, this is a cool set.
ここは
この空間に映し出されているのは錬金術を研究する場所のはずだ。
A
で
cliche.
もこの物語の作者は錬金術に対して少々偏見があるみたいだね。
Stereotype one. This layout, isn't this Albedo's office that we saw back in Paralogism when we had to investigate? We scoured through his belongings, read the letter or something. This is kind of like the same layout. There's giant flasks, an hourglass.
この姿は
Oh,
一体
he changed forms too, like how Wanderer did in the last chapter or the last part. The clay figure in the story.
言い忘れてたんだけど、この物語に登場するキャラクターの姿はデュリンがオイラたちに対して持ってる印象が反映されてるんだ。
He's like in the form of the toy figurines in Similanka.
なんとか人の形にはなってるね。
And he is still in his cat form. At least you're still human shaped. Yo, we need to get these. It's like furniture or something. Something that we can display in Serenity Pot.
カサッチさんも見た目が変わったね。
Cat
つまり
guy.
僕もカサッチさんもこの物語のキャラクターというわけか。
Cat guy is now cat guy.
でも旅人とパイモン、ドゥリン本人は変わっていない。
I mean,
君たちはちょっと特殊な存在のようだね。
it is what it is. You know, just some Descender type of shit. I don't know about Paimon though.
僕も気になったけど彼ら自身も分かってないみたいだ。今はひとまずストーリーをどう進めるか考えよう。
Let's take a look around. He's actually moving like... That's funny. Big giant books, flasks. Ooh. Is that a hidden path?
一行は隠し通路を見つけました。緻密に作られた道はどうやら別の素敵なショーへとつながっているようです。
There's no color beyond that. It seems like the voice Alice, right?
No!
Starting to sound more echoey or something.
それなら早く行ってみよ
Whoa,
う。
relax,
もう一つのショ
Paimon.
ー。うわ
Don't just run towards some sketchy place.
でもこのショーはまだ書かれていません。物語のない空白には進めません。
But this was a chapter that had not yet been written. Ahead of them was a storyless void, and they could go no further. Interesting.
じゃあこの道は何なんだよ。
Maybe the author had a flash of inspiration, and then their mind went blank. Or maybe the original author was never meant to continue this story, it is meant to be continued by none other than Durin himself.
すぐに諦めるなんて作家としては良くないんじゃないか。
これは
Ooh, that's the
みんな
heart piece
ちょっとこっちに来て。
that Durin has on his chest.
粘土のお人形さんは悪竜の心臓を見つけました。悪竜はずいぶん前に息を引き取ったはずなのに、その心臓は未だに鼓動し、温かさも増しているではありませんか。
Like that beating heart in Dragon Spine. Though the creature had perished long ago, its heart was still there, pulsing away and growing warmer with every beat.
お人形さんはすぐに分かりました。これは予言の通り、悪竜がいつか復活することを意味しているのです。さらにお母さんがお人形さんに残した知恵は、この心臓を竜の子に移植し、彼を生まれ変わらせるという方法に可能性を見出しました。
And you know what's crazy about this is, think about it. When the whole Dragon Spine, Evil Dragon Durin happened, when we went through that quest, thinking about how Durin's story, and not just Similanga Durin, right, but Dragon Spine Durin's story is carried over till 5 years, you know, in a region right before Shneznaya. I mean, we've known that they were gonna come back to tell more of Durin's story, right? Because for the longest time, the heart in Dragon Spine was just there. You know, before paralogism, it's something that you can visit whenever you want. You can interact with it, but other than examining it, there wasn't much you can do, but it was there, it was beating, it was interactable. And the fact that Durin actually became a playable character, like if you tell a 1.0 player, like after the first Dragon Spine event that we got, that hey, one day this dude is gonna be playable, everybody would have called you crazy. But now that we're here, it actually makes sense that his story is getting this much coverage, because again, it was already prophesized that he is gonna return one day, and eventually once he returns, he might cause destruction again in Mondstadt. And I think what this story is also trying to tell us is that the witches, possibly one of the reasons why they helped out, is to make sure that doesn't happen. M's wish of giving Durin like a different outcome is entirely its own thing, right? Out of the genuineness, the kindness, and you know, the sadness that she got from Dragonspine Durin's tale, I think beyond giving like best wishes for their friend's creation or child, like the other witches definitely use this opportunity to find a way to prevent that prophecy of Dragonspine Durin coming back, possibly causing damage again to Mondstadt. Find a way to prevent that.
こうすることで初めて悪竜の心臓は止まり、
There
竜の子も
we go.
悪竜の物語を継承できると思ったのです。
That's the word I was looking for. Inherit. Only then would the evil dragon's heart grow still, and the little one inherit its tail.
アルベドが僕を生まれ変わらせてくれた時の話をしてるのかな。
これが難題への答えならとっくに終わったことのはずだ。どうして今もなおドゥリンは徐々に忘れられていくんだろう。
They haven't had that one-on-one talk yet, like that thou art I moment for Similanka Durin and Dragonspine Durin, maybe?
他の可能性はないのかい？
There are still places we can check. We have time. Time. You know, every time time is mentioned now, I just, like the image of Istaroth, Venti, and now Zebai just keep popping up in my mind.
僕ももう少し周りを見てみたい。
Ooh, the ink is back. Destroy the heart of the evil
前
dragon.
へ進まなければ
Fuse with the
竜の
heart.
子は忘れ去られてしまいます。
Is this another one of those instances where if we choose something wrong, we'll end up getting the bad ending and we'd have to redo the whole thing? can't destroy the heart of the evil dragon, because what happened in paralogism is that we fused with it. But now let's explore more. This is a cool set. Like again, I hope that the book is something that we can go back to, or like the places inside the book is something that maybe we can keep as like a memento, something that we can visit whenever. Ooh, what is this place? Wait, hold on. No. You seem like you're torn about something.
新しい世界に来て新しい友達を作りたかっただけなのに、
Damn.
こんなに過酷な試練が待ち受けてるなんて、シムランカでの生活が懐かしくなる時があるよ。
確かにそういう時間も悪くない。だけど僕なら懐かしくは思わないね。
どうして？
前へ進むために代償が必要になることもある。それでも僕なら前に進みたい。
Hey, gotta snap to that. Sometimes moving on with your life comes at a cost, but that's better than going nowhere at all.
心配ない。
Facts.
どんな困難にも必ず答えはあるよ。
時々帰ってみたりしたくなるんだ。
What the hell happened? I was just gonna say, sometimes I wish we could go back to
竜
Similanka
の子は
again.
外の世界の喧騒から離れて塔へと戻り、ほっと一息つきました。
No, I wasn't done exploring. I hope we can go back there. As the little dragon slipped back inside the castle's walls, the clamors of the outside world fell away.
ここには何の危険もなく、やるべきこともありません。子供たちは母親が物語を話し終えると、夢の世界へ入っていくものです。こうして物語は結末を迎えました。竜の子は塔の中で深い眠りにつきました。まるで一度も羽化したことのないさなぎのように。
But that's not the ending that we want.
あれ、急に力が出なくなった。
どうしたんだ？ジュリン、起きろ！
We've reached an ending.
ジュリンはみんなの記憶を取り戻すって約束したじゃないか。こんなの受け入れられるはずがないぞ。
Redo. You've reached.
こういうこともある。だからしっかり物語の中を探検して可能性を見つけ出さないといけないの。
Okay, I'm gonna continue to get the not right ending.
前へ進まなければ竜の子は忘れ去られてしまいます。
Oh, Mini Durin is actually here.
この道、
塔に戻る。
There's nothing challenging for you back there. You'll end up stuck in one place.
そこに戻るっていうのは問題から全部逃げてまるで何もなかったみたいに過ごすってことだぞ。デュリンは本当にそれでいいのか？
そうだね。
Okay, I guess you can only view the different choices once. But now we gotta talk to little dragon Mini Durin here. What do you think?
やっぱりここにいたんだね。
やあ、こんにちは。
ちびりゅう、 どうしてこんなところに隠れてるんだ？
みんなを怖がらせないようにと思ってずっとここに隠れてたの。
Just like before.
もしかして緊張してる？
緊張？うん、緊張はしてるよ。でもワクワクしてる。粘土のお人形さんと話し合って僕は悪竜を抑え込んで一人の人間になろうとしてる。人間になったらきっとたくさんの友達ができるし有意義なことがたくさんできるはずでしょ。
確かにたくさんの友達ができて素敵な経験もたくさんできる。
Play a crucial role in defeating sending away one of the 5 sinners of Ganria.
よかった。でも粘土のお人形さんから人間になるのはとても難しいって聞いて不安になって、
そう、本当に人間になってから君はもっと大きな困難に直面することになる。
そうなの？
でも友達が助けてくれる。
なんだ、だったら怖くないね。
不思議だね。君と話をしてたら僕も怖くなくなってきたよ。準備はいい？
うん、人間になる準備できたよ。粘土のお人形さんは悪竜の心臓を見つけました。悪竜はずいぶん前に息を引き取ったはずなのにその心臓は未だに鼓動し温かさも増しているではありませんか。
You can hear the beating of the heart.
お人形さんはすぐに分かりました。これは予言の通り悪竜がいつか復活することを意味しているのです。さらにお母さんがお人形さんに残した知恵はこの心臓を竜の子に移植し彼を生まれ変わらせるという方法に可能性を見出しました。こうすることで初めて悪竜の心臓は止まり竜の子も悪竜の物語を継承できると思ったのです。やがて竜の子は悪竜の心臓を抱き
That's a cute
新たな
illustration.
命が誕生しました。悪竜の心臓は竜の子の胸の中で鼓動し竜の子の魂がそれを導きます。予言はやはり現実になったのでした。しかしそれは運命が書き換えられ竜の子が新しい人生を手に入れたということでもありました。
やっとハッピーエンドにたどり着いたな。
Wait, what
こ
the
れで最
hell?
後の一歩も完了だよな。やっと物語の完成だぞ。
I didn't even make a decision yet. What? But then why are we still here? Because... right.
生まれ変わった竜の子は再び旅に出ました。物語はまだまだ続く。
まだ終わってないのか？
Nope. We gotta
こ
make a
こからが本
decision.
当に重要なところかもしれない。
The real
本
last
当の意味
step.
での最後の一歩だよ。
運命というものがそれほどまでの手だれなら見せてもらおうじゃないか。
Look at his face. He's smirking. If fate really is as devious as they say, then I say show us what you've got. And you know, this is the same thing that Dottore is trying to do too. Trying to break free from his fate or something.
Once I transcend fate.
That's one thing they both have in common, is that rebellious angst towards fate itself.
みんな真剣だな。
What was that?
うしたんだデュリン。
Is it?
悪竜の心臓と竜の子は一体となりましたが、その中に秘められた暗黒の力が消えたわけではありません。彼は勇敢にもこの力を抑え込むのでしょうか、それとも立ち止まるでしょうか。
なんだよそれ。もちろん抑え込むに決まってるだろ。
残された時間はわずか。竜の子は勇敢にもこの力を抑え込むのでしょうか。それとも立ち止まるでしょうか。
Why is the voice distorted or something?
おい、どうしたんだよ。
Your Wi-Fi over there, Alice, is going bad. The signal's going bad. Oh, okay. Okay, we're gonna make it.
この力を抑え。
しかし物語のない空白には進めません。
Give in. Hey. Because I think we're meant to like check out everything. So I'm gonna see what this.
勇敢にもこの力を抑え込むのでしょうか。
I'm gonna see what this gives us.
立ち止まるでしょうか。
But what if there's no rewind mechanic again? And I just screwed up my playthrough of this. Nah, they wouldn't do that, right? They wouldn't do that. The prophecy is destined to come true.
竜の子が立ち止まると、体内に暗黒の力が湧き上がってきました。
This is similar to what we got in when we went through that thorny path.
抑え込まれることのなかった暗黒の力は何もかもを飲み込んでしまいました。竜の子の魂までも。結局竜の子の物語は消えてしまい、塔の外には悪竜の物語だけが残ったのでした。
これが
Okay, this is
僕。
the exact same thing we got.
こうして物語は終わりを告げ、竜の子は自身の姿を失い、悪竜の影しか見えなくなったとさ。
So the story is over.
デュリンがまずい。これからどうすればいいんだ。
There we go. Tuturu. Tuturu. Dodoko.
そうね、こういうこともある。
The bad ending.
しっかり物語の中を探検して可能性を見つけ出さないといけないの。
Ooh. That rewind thing? Considering that this whole storybook is a magic from Alice, right? I believe so. Like that rewind thing, is it trying to imply that manipulating time, not just reality, is something that she can do? Hold back the darkness, let's go. Coming in clutch, let's go.
竜の子とその仲間。
Blank, blank.
空白。
なんだ？あ、インクが足りなくなったのか。
We had almost
イン
half
クを
of the
使い切
ink.
ったら物語も書けなくなるのかい？
とっくにそんな予感がしてたよ。
みんなどうしたんだ？
What the
物語を
hell?
書くためのインクが尽きた。 この先にある章は真っ白の空白。
Why are we the only ones left, though? Wait, what the hell? What am I supposed to do there?
そうね、こういうこともある。だからしっかり物語の中を探検して可能性を見つけ出さないといけないの。
Was I supposed to grab more of...
どういうことだ？これでアビスの力を抑え込めるはずじゃないのか？
That
なんで
was
物語が進まないんだ？
intentional? Dang, it's getting worse.
アビスの力を抑え込むこともこの物語では一つの事件とみなされるんだ。つまり実現するにはインクを消耗して書かないといけない。
I don't know why, but seeing Albedo in this form is reminding me of... I remember playing a Dragon Ball game back in the day where they looked like chibi figurines. I think it was in the Game Boy Advanced. But this look, like the spikes going on with Albedo's hair, and then the green eyes is reminding me of that game whenever you transform into a Super Saiyan.
じゃあどうすればいいんだ？オイラたちがもっと節約してればよかったのか？これっぽっちのインクでどうやっていいエンディングなんか書けばいいんだよ。
Well, it's possible it's just not time for the story to end.
それもそうか。これはもともとドゥリンの物語だ。普通に生きている限り終わりを迎えることはない。
そういう1対1の関係であればこんな推測が成り立つんじゃないかな。
Okay,
ドゥリン
let's
と
hear
は
it.
魔女 M が描いたキャラクターであり、ずっと魔女 M の物語の中に生きている。テイワットに来てからもおそらくこの点は変わっていない。
Durin was and still is in essence a storybook character written into being by M. From the moment he was born, he has always dwelt within her story, and I suspect that has remained the case even after his arrival in Tevat.
ドラゴンスパインのドゥリンの代わりにドゥリンを復活させるという行為はドゥリンの物語をドラゴンスパインのドゥリンの運命に接続してその運命を書き換えることに他ならない。でも物語と運命には本質的な違いがある。
But there is a fundamental difference between a being's story and its fate. Okay?
テイワットではあらゆる生き物の運命はすでに紡がれていて決まった軌道に沿って進んでいく。
Right.
そう。バーベロスさんが教えてくれたことを覚えているかい？それならドゥリンの物語には
But Durin's story, on the other hand, needs an author to continue writing it.
ドゥリンは徐々にこの世界とのつながりを失い忘れ去られていく。体内のアビスの力も暴走し始めた。それはこの物語を書いていた作者のインクがもうすぐなくなるからこれ以上は書き続けられないということなんじゃないかな。
どうやらとても優秀な友人に出会ったようだ。
Oh. Is this... This doesn't sound like Alice. Is this M? It would seem the little dragon had made a group of fine friends indeed.
そんなことはどうだっていい。助けたいのか？それとも邪魔をしたいのか？
物語はここまで。もう限界だ。君たちはどうする？
Hey, like I said in, was it part 3? All the decisions, Durin has to make them. Like for the longest time, like every path that we chose, whether to go back to the castle, to continue this story or fight back, like the last choice we picked, it was all the travelers and Paimon, and I guess the players, essentially, not really Durin. So maybe that's what needs to happen, is needs to come directly from him, like what exactly he wants to achieve.
僕は
What do you want to do? If the story ends now, Durin will just vanish.
最後は
Yep.
僕が決めないといけないんだね。まさか自分がまだお母さんの物語から離れられていなかったなんて思ってもみなかった。でもだったら行ってみたい。
未完成の章、この物語の外にある空白へ。
アリスの魔法が具体的にどんな仕組みなのかはオイラたちにもよくわからないけど、デュリンは物語の中の登場人物ってことだろ。勝手に物語の外に行くのは危険すぎないか？
But I mean, that's essentially what has already happened, right? Ever since he decided to become the vessel for Dragonspine Durin's heart, to become human, to roam around Tivat, go to Sumeru, Mondstadt, not try, partake in fighting against the Wild Hunt, then possibly fighting against Dottore too. I mean, we saw him in the teaser for 6.3. I'm not afraid.
怖くないよ。
Okay, Eminem. Okay, Slim Durin. Then go for it. We'll be with you all the way.
この答えはドゥリン自身で検証しないといけないみたいだね。
いいだろう。ドゥリンを阻むものが何であろうと、僕たちがぶっ壊してやればいい。
He's smirking again. That's cool. Oh, you know what? Maybe in Milias or Wonderland, like they can make use of these assets of Cat, Wanderer, and then Toy or Clay Model, Albedo, Mini Durin. Maybe make a game out of that. That'd be cool. Ooh. Let's go. Break through the boundary of the tale, the solution of fate. Okay.
なんかではまるで存在そのものの境界超えることはできません。
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Okay.
確かに存在の境界にひびが入ったのでした。
That's cool. This kind of like in, if any of you guys played Detroit, when Marcus, Kara, and even, what's dude's name? And the other playable character you got? Oh, Connor. When they started to break out of their programming and they were smashing through an invisible wall, this kind of reminds me of that. Nah, that's cool. We gotta use the other skill. This one.
Mae. 進み続けないと。
This is a cool shot. Gotta take that step. Hmm.
この先に物語はありません。
何も感じない。
The heart beating in the background.
前を見て。君の精神と知恵は純粋な魂から生まれたものだ。君は意識のない虚無の存在じゃない。
And it's Albedo's voice that brought back color to him, brought back life to him. Oh, maybe it's all of the important people in his life, his friends. It's like their voices will guide him to his destination.
力が出ない。
Wanderer?
立って。
Oh, okay.
君の骨と肉は僕によって作り上げられた。君は空想の存在じゃない。
That's cool how they showed like Albedo, like reassuring him by tapping his back.
僕は本当に生きてるの？
この先へ進むといい。君は僕と同じ完全な生命だ。
That's cool.
何のつながりも感じられない。
Reclaim your true
君は
self.
一人じゃない。
Oh, wonder.
少なくとも僕は友達に数えていいだろ。
That's awesome. At the very least, you have me.
何も思い出せない。僕は誰？
君の名前はドゥリン。この名前を覚えている者はたくさんいる。
僕の名前はドゥリン。
行け、走れ。この世界の運命は誰のことも待ってくれやしない。
Not this track.
待って、
No.
どこに行けばいい？僕は何をすればいいの？
願いを叶えるんだよ、ドゥリン。
Nice.
僕の願い。
Ooh.
ドゥリン、あなたの物語はまだ終わってない。
Why did the song stop? Keep playing it. Story's not over yet. Ooh, Sri Lanka again? The Tea
どうし
Party.
て私の提案に沈黙するの？
物語を未完成の運命に接続し、本来の運命を書き換えることで物語を続けさせる。
I'm glad we're getting more of M and then the rest of their conversation again. This track playing, you want to graft your story onto this unfinished thread of fate, and in doing so not only rewrite that fate, but allow the story to live on. This track. Yeah, this is giving me heavy Studio Ghibli film sounding OST. And I think they played this too in Sri Lanka, right?
確かに天才的な考え方ね。でもこの物語が続いていけるかどうかは作者が筆を取り続けるかにかかってる。
But she wasn't able to finish it, right? Because she already passed.
だが予言にあるあの時間はまだ数百年も先だ。
なるほど。
Yep, she wouldn't make it.
私の知識が未熟すぎるせいで錬金術という偉大な知恵に非現実的な期待を託しすぎたのかと思った。
Oh, okay, so now... So the entire time, like, has it always been M? Like, she's the one narrating from... Well, not early on, because we knew Alice kind of started narrating on her own. But I'm talking about when we started to really go through the books. Like, the one narrating was, or has been, M, and not Alice. I mean, y'all probably caught that early on, but if that is the case, I only realized it earlier. When she said how, like, the little dragon ended up having good friends.
どうやらとても優秀な友人に出会ったようだ。
And it kind of sounded like, at least from the tone of it, like she was glad about it. She was glad for her child having, like, good friends. So that's why I thought that it might be her earlier. But now that I'm hearing more of her voice again, that might be the case.
あるいは私が好天の星々の先まで見通せないから予言の裏に隠された秘密を正しく理解できてないのかなって。まさか一番の課題が 私の時間だったとはね。
No. Yep, because again, the prophecy is centuries away from there, this event, when this was happening. And she's just a regular human. I mean, she's not like Rhine-daughter, Barbeloth, Nicole, Alice. Like, she's really just a regular human. That time itself would prove to be the greatest hurdle of all. Damn.
何にせよ、これは面白い実験だ。学術的な観点から言えば、君の提案を否定はできない。
No, it's crazy to hear Rhine-daughter talk like this. Because the last time that we saw her, she was talking about giving Certology new limbs or something through alchemy. And that was when they took the power of, like, the Abyss. And I know this whole thing is, like, you know, the time between that has been years or maybe centuries. But again, at least from our perspective in game, like, that's the last interaction, or that's the last scene that we saw her at. Was when she was, scheming with the 5 sinners of Ganria. But it's good to see that here, at least, while still thinking about, like, this entire thing is like an experiment, at least she is being genuine towards her friend. And maybe that's really just the way that she talks, right? Most intriguing experiment.
予言はいつか必ず実現する。星々と共に時間を超えてゆくものは必ずある。
Much like the stars themselves, there will always be something that transcends the test of time. Love. This is bringing me back to me, I would say, the greatest movie that I've seen, Interstellar. Like, I forgot the exact line, but it's something about the one thing that transcends the test of time. The answer was love.
アリス、みんなにはもう助けられてばかりだけど、もう一つわがままを言っていい？もう一度君の魔法の力で少なくとも予言が実現する時まで彼の物語を続けてもらえないかな。
Now I have to say, like, M really shot up in terms of, like, one of the... I mean, after playing this game for so long, there's been tons of, like, great characters in the game. Not just writing, but, you know, the story behind those characters. Even NPCs, like the ones in the world quests. But really just seeing how much M really cared for, like, her child, Similanka Durin, is great to see.
寿命を延ばすってこと？いや、
Not really.
レインドットが教えてくれたよ。生死は多分この世で最も強固な法則だって。
I just noticed it's only them two now. But wait, the fact that she even suggested that, like, you want me to extend your lifespan? Can you do it, Alice? You know, I wished we could have seen M, like, at least see Similanka Durin become who he is now. I mean, given the members of the Hexen Circle, I'm sure they could have done something about that. But maybe at the cost of your humanity or something.
人の生死もこの世界も全ては運命によって定められてる。その法則を無理に破ろうとすると人ではない道へと導かれてしまうかもしれない。そんなのは嫌。私はちゃんと人間の姿で最後を迎えたいの。
Is there some kind of, like, way that, you know how the people of Natlan, like, through the Wyob and then I forgot through the Night Kingdom, like, for that one day, I forgot the exact events of how that even happened again, but when the souls from the Night Kingdom were able to seep into Tevat again, you know, maybe a better alternative of doing it, but essentially just, you know, I wish that M could have really seen Durin as he is now. But yeah, she decided to keep her humanity. You are such a goated character, M.
それってつまりこの筆を未来に送ってくれない？
Damn. Bro, the lines, the wording, this is hitting, bro. Right in the feels.
なるほどね。確かに方法はないわけじゃない。物語の魔法ならあなたの代わりに書き続けてくれる。
To take over the writing once you're gone.
でもこの魔法を使うには十分な量の文字を学習させなきゃ。
それってどれくらい？
残りのすべての人生をかけて準備しなきゃいけないくらい膨大な量よ。それに魔法があっても一筋縄ではいかないかも。
Wait, what? So much in fact that you would have to spend the rest of your life writing. And even then, I'm sorry to say, it would not last forever. For it to work, you would need to provide enough of your own words for it to learn from. Oh. So is the material of the ink made out of, like, based off of M's books that she wrote in the past? Is that what this is basically showing us?
残せる文字は有限だけど、この世界はずっと変化し続けてる。いつかはあなたが残した文字をすべて使っても、この世界のすべてを表現しきれないかもしれない。そうなると物語は中断されてしまう。
Or is she talking more so strictly just within this book? This book that we've been going into since the start of the quest.
試してみる価値はある。
Damn, I would like you to send this pen of mine into the future. Oh, we're back. She's here. Damn. Are we gonna see like the last days of her life?
もう何年も経ったのにまだ。ここ数年で災いの影響も薄れてきた。あなたは静かな晩年を過ごせたはずなのに。
Finally returning to normal? The calamity in Conria? That's the boat in Similanka? The plant flower thing in the frogs, the paper frogs area? The flower? Wait, so does that mean that... Wait, terrible calamity? You're talking about the calamity in Conria, right? Right? Because I'm thinking that if that's the case, then the Hexen Circle, was it formed even before the calamity struck? So that means that Daughter, like she's been part of the Hexen Circle even before she became a sinner. Or am I messing up the timeline? It's late. Not really. I think I'm mixing things up.
シムランカの世界を離れたら、あの子はもっと厄介な状況に直面することになる。物語を続けるためには、素材がもっと必要なんだよ。
Damn. You hate to hear that. Like how weak, old she now sounds, but still working towards making sure that there's enough ink or there's enough material that ink can use. Do not tell me that she's gonna use the remaining amount of her life force as like fuel or something.
さほど重要じゃないディテールは
Oh, okay.
省略するしかない。
どうしてあの子を物語の世界から外へ出してテイワットの運命にさらそうとするの？
Maybe it goes back to, like, again, how she found Dragon spying Durin's tale to be such a tragedy that she really wants to rewrite that whole thing and give both Durins essentially like a better outcome.
物語の中に残しておいてもいいんじゃない？それなら私の魔法で運命の呪いも解いてあげられるし、素敵なエンディングを迎えられるのに。
You gotta be some different kind of level of a being to say that with my magic even fate's curse could be undone. And that's essentially what would have happened in if Similanka, if we didn't stumble upon that world. But then again, he would have continued to have been ostracized because he would have been the big toy block Durin that everybody was afraid of in Similanka, if not for us and the rest of cast in the Similanka event.
そうだね。確かに童話の中では女神に願い事をすれば木も本物の男の子になるし、ずっと幸せに暮らしましたとさで終わらせられてしまう。
Pinocchio, just like Wanderer. And you know what? Albedo, like Wanderer and even Durin, like they all have similar themes going on with them, right? Like Albedo being a homunculus, not really like he's a synthetic created being made out of chalk. And then, I mean, Wanderer, right? For the longest time, we've known that he is much like the Raiden Shogun robot. He's not really human. Then we only recently learned that the material he was made out of was from another branch of Irminsul. Then Durin, again, we've known he's like the creation of M's story. He's from a storybook in Similanka who became human. Like these themes of, despite not having like the real life flesh of a human, but having the heart of a human or something, all synonymous with that one theme.
童話ってそういうエンディングが多いけど、主人公はその後、どんなことを経験したのかなって考えたことはない？
それは
アリス、君はどう思う？作家にとって一番の心残りとは何か？
The same exact question that Alice asked us. What would be a writer's greatest regret?
最後まで書ききれなかった物語を残してしまうこと？
それも説得力のある答えだね。それを一番の心残りとみなす作家も多い。でも私は違う。私にとっての一番の心残りは、私が書いた物語に必ず終わりを用意してあげなきゃいけないことなんだ。
あ、いや。
Damn. That's actually... wow. My greatest regret is that every story I write has to come to an end in the first place. Damn. Like, she really sees more from the characters in their stories. To her, they're not just stories that have a beginning and an end. Like, she really sees them as like they're really that precious to her.
どれほど魅力的なキャラクターも物語が終わりを迎えてしまった時、すべての可能性が奪われてしまう。物語は彼らにとって決して抜け出せない運命になってしまうんだ。でももし私が握っているペンを物語の中の人物に渡して彼自身に物語を書かせることができたら。
Wow. That's such a cool concept. Like, again, what if instead I could place my pen in their hand and let them continue the story with their own hands? Wow. Wow.
それって君の言う通り、私が残せる文字は限られてる。この魔法じゃ予言が実現するまで物語を続けるだけでほぼ限界だろうね。
Is she really going to, like, maybe place the remaining amount of her life force inside the book? Or something?
でも君の魔法を借りて一部の完成済みの物語をインクに戻す方法を見つけたんだよ。
But I found a way to use your magic to transform some of my finished stories into a special kind of ink. Okay, so that's exactly what was happening.
インクはあの子が使える魔法の媒体。自分の思った通りに物語を書き続ける力をあの子に与えてあげればいいんだ。物語ってすごく不思議な存在だと思う。もしあの子がこの物語のすべてを経験し、その中で何度も自分の願いを残せたなら。
Bro, it's just sad to hear like her voice like that, but still I'm trying to come up with a solution to this whole thing. But again, this goes back to the thought that I had in, was it part 2 or part 3? Like how everything is structured, like how every part that we've gone through, like part 1, we had to decide like how Durin was gonna be born into this world. Was it through like the forest with nature's breeze or something? And then the other choice was in a castle. And then part 2, I forgot part 2. Oh, part 2 was deciding what gift to give Durin. Part 3 was all about... I don't think we made a decision in part 3. But part 4 was whether to pick the thorny path or the path that we've already gone through before. Each of those parts or each of those acts that we've gone through, like it needed Durin, or it led to Durin realizing something about himself, or realizing like his own wishes or something. Like again, just in this part where he, after hearing many little Similanka Durin talk about his thoughts right before, you know, doing the alchemical experiment, little Durin having that courage and faith in his friends gave this Durin like more reassurance and more faith that okay, I'ma really do this. And like every bit of it, like naturally it's us the players deciding which choices to go for, but the way that they show it in the story is that it's still Durin who ends up deciding what choice to make, which goes back to this. And if he can experience the whole tale himself while leaving behind his own wishes and aspirations, like his own drive, his own desires, is maybe really the magic of this whole thing. Like it's turning him more and more into, you know, into his own person, into his own self. It's building his character even more.
たとえ私が途中で書くのをやめても、あの子は自分の力で物語を続けていける。そうすれば物語を創作する権限をあの子に移せる。
物語の中のキャラクターがその物語を書く権利を。
A character with the power to write their own story.
本当の意味で私の筆から離れて、
Wow.
物語の外にいる人たちと同じように自分自身の人生を書けるようになるんだ。
That way he'll finally be free from the cage that is my pen. Like anyone else living in the real world, he can go on to create a life of his own. Wow.
それなら魔法の限界も考えなくていいってわけね。確かに天才的な答えよ。でもリスクも大きい。まず彼がテイワットに行ってからも世界とのつながりを保つためには、あなたが残した物語が必要になる。創作権限を徐々に移行する中で世界とのつながりはどんどん弱まっていく。もしかしたらどこかの時点で完全につながりを失ってしまうかも。
So that's what was happening. As you gradually hand over creative control, that connection will grow weaker, and at some point he might lose it altogether.
でも権限を彼に移してる間も、彼は自分自身でつながりを作れる。
この方法はテイワットの秘密の根源に触れすぎているわ。あからさまなヒントはすぐに上書きされてしまうでしょうね。
The issue is, this method taps into too many of Tevat's core secrets. Any overt hints you try to leave will be erased in no time. She talking about Irminsul?
彼らを導いてあげられるヒントを残すのは難しいかも。
でも私たちには物語があるでしょ。物語で導いてあげられる。
Which is essentially how the entire concept of transcribing real events into stories, ballads, in ways that Tevat really cannot overwrite.
けどもしかしたら手持ちのインクを使い果たして望み通りの章にはたどり着けないまま過去の物語でさまようことになるかもしれない。
Nah, she believes in him.
それでも
そうだとしても、私はあの子の可能性を信じたい。
W. Moms, Anya M. Anders' daughter.
あの子が抱く未来への期待も叶えたい願いも、自分自身のためのインクになる。
Like that becomes the
今に
new...
もつきそうな私のインク
My
に
bad.
縛られるんじゃなくてさ。
That becomes the new fuel for it. His hopes and wishes can be his ink, so he won't be trapped by mine running dry. That's why, like this whole thing, ooh. So that's why the entire thing about him making decisions, like that's why that was very important, because again, it establishes not what Durin thinks the event should be, but what Durin wants the outcome to be. That's why they showed it in that the part before all this, when we were trying to run through that one last option, but then it brought us back from the beginning, brought us back right to that same room. It wasn't until Durin really started to make the decision himself to continue the story and then run through that route of that unwritten page, or the one without the colors. It wasn't until then that we were able to progress the story.
あいや、
Right?
あなたは私が知る中で世界一想像力にあふれたロマンチックな作家ね。こんなにロマンチックな考えのためなら、力を貸してあげる。
ありがとう。私の大事なドゥリン、どうすればいいかはもうわかるね。
This track. Guizong's Lullaby. Although I think that isn't really the name of this song. Damn! They really hit us with this song. Wow. And we're really getting it. What I've been asking for. What I was asking for earlier. This interaction between them. This is giving me chills, bro. Like when that music hit, bro, straight chills. Yo, props. They killed it with this story quest.
そうだったんだ。僕はお母さんの筆を受け継いでこの物語を続けるんだね。
Yep, it's your turn to keep this story alive.
どうしてためらうの？
Damn. And I'm glad they at least brought back, like, her voice that's more lively, not the one from earlier.
僕がこの筆を受け取ったらお母さんはどうなってしまうの？
権限の移行が完了したら、私は存在の拠り所を失う。少しずつ消えていくんじゃないかな。私は。いや、君のお母さんは本当はずっと前に亡くなっているからね。私は魔法が生み出した意識でしかない。だからそんなに悲しまなくていいんだよ。
That's tough.
わかってるよ。お母さんがもうとっくに亡くなってることくらいわかってる。
But now that he's seeing you again, hearing your voice face to face, it's not that easy of a decision for him to make.
でも早くにお母さんから離れた子供には悪い癖があるんだよ。いつもお母さんが残した絵本を手にして、まるでお母さんがまだそこにいるかのように振る舞うんだ。
ドゥリン。
でもこの世界に来てから仲間たちと一緒に大陸を渡り、共に敵と戦った。ふと気づいたんだ。もうお母さんが物語を聞かせてくれるのを待ってるわけにはいかない。新しい使命ができたから。
Because I'd found a new purpose in life.
これが大人になるって感覚なのかな。たくさんの友達が僕を待ってる。お母さんの用意してくれた絵本を手放す時が来たんだ。
And that's probably the one thing that she really hoped for Durin. So eventually, branch away or branch out outside of that storybook.
お母さん、僕大人になるよ。
じゃあこれを持っていきなさい。もっと早く渡しておけばよかった。
It had a green, like wind glow on it.
君はこの物語の誕生を見届け、未来に願いを託し、祝福を送った。そして物語に君自身の選択を書き留めた。
I have to say, perfect choice of a music right here. Like, do you hear this? While listening to all of this dialogue between M and Durin, I do wonder if the reason why it has this green glowing aura on it is if Venti also played a part into this magic or something.
今からは君がこの筆の持ち主だよ。ではこの物語を続けるためのもう一つの力、この物語を見届けるものよ。
Is she talking to Traveler in Paimon? The other pillar of this story as both its reader and its witness?
新たなページをめくり、この物語に新章を足してくれる。
Oh, what? Well, you turn the page so the next chapter can begin. That is crazy. Wow. Yep, goes back to Zhongli. I think it was the end of when we were in that cliff on that rocky mountain with Zhongli as both its reader and its witness. Again, our role from the beginning has been to be a witness as we go along the stories that we encounter in Tevat. And I do wonder, I wonder if they're going to explain why, again, the Traveler in Paimon, like Albedo and Wanderer, like they were questioning, why aren't they showing up in a different form? And why the hell is Paimon not here? What the hell? That's kinda crazy. And she said other pillar of this story. Like what? Did they already foresee that maybe through Barbalot's prophecy that there would be like someone else like carrying or becoming the pillar of this story? I mean, I don't think that if it was prophesied that they knew exactly who it was, but just the fact that there will be someone who will be the other pillar. Let's turn this page over. You turn the page so the next chapter can begin. Act 6,
突
Fate.
然暗黒の力が襲ってきました。さあどうする。残念ながら魔法使いの書いた物語はここでおしまい。
でもドゥリンが書く物語はまだ始まったばかりだ。
That was cool.
彼はお母さんの思い出に入り込み、その筆を受け継ぎました。そうして終わりかけた物語の新たな章が開かれたのです。彼は自分を阻む運命に立ち向かうことを決意しました。
That was cool. That was a sick transition. Like from M's voice as the narrator and then her ink, right, is black. Then exactly as she says that her tale is about to end. Like Durin picks it up. Like he says, I got it. And then the narrator's voice turned into Durin's. The ink from black, it went to purple, his color. Wow. Look at how much confidence and drive he now has in his voice.
これが最後の一歩のようだ。
This is a cool set. I mean, a cool domain. Okay, we're about to have a fight with Toy Block Durin. It's a battle for the heart.
運命に正面から立ち向かえる戦いなんてめったに味わえないね。
Okay.
死ぬことはできない。いつかよみがえ災いをもたらす。定められた運命。
Did they polish up the model of Big Toy Block Durin? Kinda, right? You know, now that Milliastro Wonderland is a thing, I do hope that they allow creators to make use of these assets. Because I think it'd be cool to have like games or mini games, you know, centered around Similanka, you know, the Toy Block Durin.
そんな運命はもう存在しない。最後に残るのは僕の物語だ。
Look at his face, and here you can hear how much more determined he now sounds. The solution of fate, defeat fate. The same boss fight we got in Similanga. Oh damn.
よ、ひどいよ。
I think maybe we need some backup here.
危ない。物語は始まった
Maybe
ばか
that's
り
gonna
だ
be
よ。
the mechanic, like Wanderer and then Albedo will come join this party to help Durin out.
君じゃ回避できない。
Ah, I see.
僕が地上から引き離す。
That's cool. Can you give me more HP? Ooh. Attack the quill. Okay.
最後に残るのは
僕の物語だ。
I see. There we go.
燃やし尽くす。
Da golly. Oh yeah, we got this. This I forgot the name of this food. It's
今回の攻
easy.
撃に資格はない。
Light work. Okay,
僕は
that's
セブ
cool.
ン。
What help are we gonna provide as the traveler? Dodge
気
that.
をつけて。新たな物語の中でドゥリンは
There we have it. Ooh. Oh, now it's glowing.
ありがとうお母さん。
Oh, he already changed forms. Like his horns look different now. And then again, that chest piece, the heart, now has that star in the middle.
ドゥリンは暗黒の力に勝ち定められた運命を書き換えました。彼の物語はまだまだ続く。
Yes, sir. It's just the beginning. But his story is far from over. Oh, we're back.
Minna, 大丈夫?
His new outfit, his new form.
大丈夫だ。戦いみんなで見守ってたぞ。本当にかっこよかったぜ。
Is that a new outfit? It looks a lot more free.
確かに前と少し違う気がする。みんなに改めてお礼を言わないと。みんなの助けがなかったらここまで来れなかったかもしれない。
間接的にしか手伝えなかったのが心残りだな。運命とやらにビンタを食らわすチャンスだったのに。
Yep.
実に残念だ。
Hey, I'm telling you, Wanderer, like no matter how much you hate the Tori for all of the slimy, sneaky stuff that he did, for all of the horrible stuff that he did to you back in the day, like you guys have something in common. Something about going against fate.
でも君もいつかきっと見つけられる。
何の話だ？
何って運命にビンタをお見舞いするチャンスのことだよ。
Ooh, that's foreshadowing if I've ever seen one.
そうかもね。
ちょっと失礼。
The abyssal energy within him.
体内にあるアビスの力が安定状態に戻った。
Oh,
奇妙な症状も完全に消えたね。
maybe we go back to Mondstadt to check, see if the people of Mondstadt remember him now. We did it! We did it!
ただこの最後のステップは何を意味していたんだろうね。錬金術以外にドゥリンの体に作用する規則があるなんて。
What other law of this world governs his being?
終わりよければ全てよしじゃないのかい。無事に解決したことだし。
Damn.
僕はこれで失礼するよ。
Says I'm out. Peace, y'all.
もう行くの？人間の習わしではこれからお祝いがあるはずだよ。
The way Durin sounds kinda sounds different now too. Like he's more like he's less reserved. or something?
お祝いそんな場面に僕は不釣り合いだ。困ったことがあったら僕のところに来ればいい。友達だと思うんならね。
Some people never change.
確かに今はドゥリンをお祝いするべきだね。学術的な議論はふさわしくない。
So you're dipping too?
気にしないで。魔女のおばさんたちが何をしたのか詳しく話してあげたいところだけど、どこからどう話せばいいのか。
大丈夫、また機会は来るよ。君の物語はまだまだ終わらないんだろ。
はあ、
それじゃあ旅人パイモン、またね。今日はとても特別な体験ができた。記録を整理しておくよ。
And report back to Gold. Or send her a letter or something, maybe?
またな。いよいよお祝いだな。あれ
There's more. Alice. Doot doot doot.
無事任務をクリアできたみたいね。おめでとう。約束通り
No!
本を返してね。
I wish we could have kept that, so we could at least go back to those domains or spaces we were able to visit back then.
クリアした瞬間に出てくるなんてな。まあもともとそう言ってたか。
身だしなみを整えるのも人付き合いには欠かせないことなんでしょ。
Toward the distant horizon. Hey, we can now change his fit. Durin's outfit. Oh, you can actually read it. What do you suppose would be a writer's greatest regret? To leave a story without an ending? Such was Alice's reply, as one who had been touched by such regret all too often in her sojourns across many worlds. Huh? I mean, we've known that. Like, she's not from here. Still crazy to see an author who had toiled for decades might suddenly pass away due to acute illness, leaving an epic tale of swords and sorcery frozen before the final battle. Or perhaps a brilliantly gifted author, their time limited by some malady, may find themselves never able to fully present their grand imagined world to their readers. Alice, who loved reading, was deeply troubled by this and couldn't help but sigh. My greatest regret is that every story I write has to come to an end in the first place. This was the answer that Anya Marie Anders' daughter, one who had authored many a fairy tale, gave. She glanced back at the bookshelf where many characters born from her pen slumbered between the pages. Some were clever or brave, winning the hearts of many readers with their outstanding performances. But no matter how brilliantly a character shines, the moment their story ends, their potential is lost forever. For them, the story itself becomes an inescapable fate. Looking at the books, now covered in a thin layer of dust from being sealed away for so long, Alice understood her friend's regret. Anya, but what if instead I could place my pen in their hand and let them continue the story themselves? Anya's gaze returned to the manuscript, the last story she would leave behind, and the most special. Other stories would eventually form part of the past, but this story could have a future. Alice quickly understood that this was her friend's final wish. What the writer you are, Anya. Your imagination never ceases to amaze, and you do know how much I love a happy ending. You shall have my help, my dear friend, or my dear. Durin's outfit. Durin's original outfit has received a new lease of life, now that he's taken up his mother's pen. Ultimately, he bid farewell to the past once painted by its previous owner. When the lock on his heart faded away, The distant horizon his wish now points to became the direction in which his story continues to unfold.
翼の影が夕暮れ時の空を覆い隠す。
Hey, now he does look cleaner now. Like his horns look cooler with the purple. And again, that thing, that chest piece, like his heart. Return the book to Alice. Oh, of course. Right here, where they held their tea parties.
執筆者さんに物語を見届けた旅人さん、久しぶりね。
My writer and witness.
今そうやって聞くと、旅人に対して最初から特別な何かを用意してたように聞こえるぞ。
Right? Are you gonna tell us more about how you all foresaw this back in the day? That there would be a need for another pillar?
もちろんよ。物語を続けるには物語を書いた人だけじゃなくて、物語を読んでくれる人も必要なの。それが揃ってこその魔法だもの。
But it couldn't have been just anybody, right? Maybe it needed it to be a descender or someone who can transcend fate or something?
旅人は身分が特殊だから見届ける者としての役割を与えたの。
I know that's not Venti right there. What the hell is he doing here? Oh, you know what? Are they finally gonna meet? Duvalin and then Durin? I chose Lumine or the Traveler as the witness because of the special nature of who she is. Someone unbound by this world's fate or something?
こんな人ってそうそういないわ。私が自分で登場しちゃおうかなとまで考えたんだから。
Okay. For a moment I even considered taking the role myself. To, I guess, someone who's not really bound by this world's system per se. Well, you were the only one who understood what was going on.
まあ、面白い物語を楽しめたのは良かったんじゃない？
He's really here. And you know, this is the first time that we see both Venti and actual Alice, like in the same scene. Because back then it was just a Dodoko form of Alice. I think back in Paralogism, right?
なんで銀融野郎もここにいるんだ？魔女界がモンドでこんなに波乱に満ちた実験をしてるとなると、空人の僕も放っておけないからね。
With the Hexen Circle carrying out such a risky experiment in Mondstadt, it didn't cross your mind that the Animal Archon might be slightly curious?
迷惑をかけてごめんなさい、バルバトス様。
気にしなくていいのよ。風神様も楽しそうだし。さて、約束通り、完成品を見せてもらっていいかしら。
Oh, the book?
あ、どうぞ。
最初からいろいろ計画はしてたけど、いざ始まると予想外なところもたくさんあった。
Now that they revealed the rest of Nodry's playable characters and Alice isn't one of them, it makes me even more excited by the time that she becomes playable. Then again, she might be that other figure in the reflection, but I can't wait for the day that I can have her and then clean just one team. Same thing with if I can have Rhine-daughter, please, as a playable character, like her and then Albedo in one team.
まさかレインドットの代わりにその子供が錬金術の部分を完遂してくれるなんてね。アルベドちゃんが頼ってきてくれた時は驚いちゃった。
Right, in Paralogism. I mean, that's essentially also why they gave us that test, right? Where we had to fight their king and queen chess pieces.
みんながここにいたらいろいろお話できたんだけど。
わしならいるけどね。返事をしなかったのはあの鈍色のやつだろ。
Stuffing her face over there. Who? Well, that's crazy. Barbalot's here.
バービー、ずいぶん前に連絡したのに遅かったじゃない。
That's cool.
ほら、もう少しこっちに来て顔を見せてみな。
おばさん。
Unseer Witch.
やはりこの子の運命は星々の中に映し出されていない。アンヤはとんでもないことを成し遂げたね。
Has achieved what almost no one before her could. Wow. I gotta take as much screenshot as I can. It's not every day you get both the Venti and then Alice in just one shot.
それってどういう意味？
お前はとても幸運だということさ。
それって。
So what does that mean? Damn, she's gone. My controller is gone too. The teacup falls silent. Perhaps the mage's thoughts have already drifted elsewhere.
物語の中でもこういうくだりがあったよな。
Right before she could tell the fate of Paimon, how she never really gave any more context behind, what was Paimon's fate.
ドゥリンちゃん、この後何か計画はあるのかしら？この物語の続きが楽しみよ。
Why did Venti leave all of a sudden?
たくさんあって、どこから話せばいいかわからないよ。
Well, party for sure, right? I mean, they were supposed to feast at the end of part 3, but then the whole thing with the people of Mondstadt forgetting him and then the abyssal energy around him. So maybe we can start with that.
それなら最近のあの心残りから解決するのはどうかな。
Oh, not meeting Dvalin? Is he finally gonna show up? Oh, you're not gonna let us hear what he has to say?
銀融野郎、デュリンに何をさせに行ったんだ？
ずっと前に叶えるべきだった願いを実現してもらいに行っただけだよ。
最後にもう一度感謝するよ。
Wow. Okay. What I was hoping for? I mean, they already had that conversation earlier with Durin and then M, right? But again, for her to actually see this whole thing play out well for Durin, thank you for showing us that.
残りの時間はあとどれくらい？
これが最後の時間だと思う。友人と別れを言えてちょうどよかった。
自分の友達ともう一度永遠の別れを告げるみたいで、
Damn.
とても辛い気分よ。
どう返したらいいかわからないよ。私が残した文字の中では、君はいつも楽しそうな姿をしてるのに、愉快な魔法使いなんて肩書きまで用意してあげたんだよ。
But ain't that a thing too, right? Like, for as much of a merry person Alice is, maybe she can also be just as... Maybe she also gets just as sad as, whenever things like this happen.
そんなこと言われても、あなたの物語が私をこんなに悲しくさせたんでしょ。私に別れを言う以外に、あの子に何かメッセージを残しておかなくていいの？
Right.
この本は最終的にあの子に渡して続きを書かせるんでしょ？それならこの本にメッセージを残しておくのはどう？
私がわざわざ筆を取るまでもないよ。
Oh?
あの子の母親がとっくにメッセージを残していたからね。
Oh, okay, so that's why in earlier when she kind of stuttered or something when she said I or your mother, because that's, again, this is not really M, it's just like her essence in the book.
代わりに伝えておくよ。
Cutscene. Oh, that's what she looks like.
これは私からの最後の言葉。 物語のキャラクターは
Boar
みん
Princess.
な私の子供のようなものだった。だからそ
Similango.
の子たち全員に母の愛を与えようとしたの。
Right.
君はその中で最も特別な存在。
Bro, she
この
looks
世
so
界の
good.
運命
What
に
the
挑
hell?
み、私の物語に最も完璧な脚中を残してくれるのは君だけだから。
That's awesome.
私の筆から離れ、私がたどり着けない未来に迎えるのも君だけ。それでも飛んでいきなさい、我が子よ。海へ流れる川のように、太陽を追いかける風のように、未知の地で冒険の道を切り開きなさい。宝石のように美しい大きな竜に出会ったら大胆に誘って踊ろう。
Wow. That's what Venti told
君は
him.
もう一人じゃない。君の誕生はこの世界に認められたんだから、ためらう必要なんてない。
Wandering.
叶えたい願いがたくさんあるんでしょ。
So that's what
長
was
い
on her
長い
cheeks.
旅路を歩むことになるよ。 歌声も草花もみんな君のインクとなる。どうか私の筆を受け継いでこの物語を書き続けて。
Wow. That was awesome. Damn. Oh yes. We get to keep it. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I better talk to her now because the same thing might happen again where, like that one part in part 3 where the book suddenly disappeared. Not taking any more chances with that. Talk to Alice.
さっき渡したのはあの魔法の本の複製版よ。
Yes.
物語を見届けたものとして記念に持っておいてちょうだい。もちろんこのレプリカに魔法は宿ってないわ。
Okay, all of the twists and turns
ハ
are
イラ
still
イト
there.
は漏れなく収めてあるから。
That's cool. Oh, Venti's still here too. Hold on. Let me get Klee here so we can have a mother and daughter picture here. There we have it. There we go.
どこ？
There we go. She has all her Dodoko bombs. Fresh supply from Alice. Damn, I can't wait for Alice to be playable. You know, they got to, right? They have to. They have to make them synergize together at least. But I don't know. Cause I kinda want Alice to be like a DPS too. But maybe she can be both, like a DPS and sub-DPS. What's up, Venti?
ドゥリンとトワリンがモンドの空に同時に現れた。
And so they flew together, Durin and Dvalin, over the skies of Mondstadt.
まさかこんな文章を素敵な物語として受け取れる日が来るなんてね。
Right? What a perfect way to end this story. Damn, M looked really good too. Like her design. I was wondering what was on her cheek. It was actually like to show that as she's like it's depicting her again passing, but in a way that's tied to her own theme of storybooks. So it's like she's a page out of a book that crumpled away. Where is it? Okay. Tale of Durin. The magic book left by M must ultimately be handed over to Durin, allowing him to continue writing the story. Alice created a replica of it and gifted it to you. After all, as a witness to this tale, you deserve a keepsake. Of course, this replica lacks any magical properties, but it for sure preserves all the twists and turns.
昔々
Oh, okay.
竜の子は風の導きを受け、お母さんの
So we really can't go back into those spaces anymore. At least we get to keep a memento of it. And it still reads out like all of the chapters. So that's still cool. I didn't even realize that we kept this too. Did we fetch that when it fell into the water? And this quest has been cinema peak. Definitely. I mean, the thing about story quests is that if you like the character, regardless if it's the best written story or if it's just a decent written story, you'll be biased towards ranking it pretty high up. But that is to say that, well, right now, this has to be one of the best story quests in the game. Besides the fact that this had to be split into 5 actual different days, like you can't just do it in one sitting. Everything has been great, like the presentation, the way that they crafted the whole mechanic with the book, giving us the ability to make choices as well, and allowing us to actually see the other choices in game. Like you could make mistakes, you can choose the wrong decisions, and it will allow you to do a rewind to actually get back on track to do the right decision. And again, M, such a goated character. W Moms, one of the best parent figures in the game. Although to be fair, I mean most of the parent figures, for the playable characters at least, yeah, I just realized that I'm talking about parent figures and then we have Wanderer here. But to be fair, A had good intentions, just a bad way of, you know, handling things. But not in terms of Alice and then M. I mean, even going back to like Bennett just recently, right? Well, not recently, but Bennett, his parents, Razor back then in, was it Windbloom or Winesless Fest? When we learned about his backstory, there must be more that I'm just not recalling right now. But again, that part when M and then Durin finally interacted, and then they started to hit us with that Goizong's lullaby, or whatever the actual name of that song is, almost got me. It hit right in the feels. And I guess one of the things that makes this whole quest like really up there too is all the build-up. Like again, this story about Durin has been there since the beginning of the game. Then we would eventually get more and more of it little by little, right? With the Dragon Spine events, you know, every time Albedo shows up, and then eventually Simulanka, right? An entire summer event dedicated to Durin, and then M and their stories. Then eventually Paralogism, and then, I mean, we can even consider Nod Cry as integral to it because we saw Durin's growth, I would say, or him settling into his human body, human self. Then eventually to this, his story quest. So a lot of build-up, a lot of building blocks here and there that really made this into a really good story quest. And the perfect way to end it. The sun shining. But yeah, let me know what y'all's thoughts are regarding his story quest. Did you enjoy it? I hope you did. And yeah, what else maybe you guys picked up from the entirety of this quest? You know, interesting stuff that I might have missed. Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that's about it. Peace.